Right, hey guys, and welcome back. And I just wanted to highlight something to you guys. So I've recently been, of course, referencing two very, very big superhero franchises because obviously, when you want to review a superhero film, you have to want to compare it to something else. And thankfully, we live in a wonderful time when we get to witness two major superhero universes not only putting out their ideas but also competing. And where there's competition, there's major improvements. So it's really good to know that the Marvel and DC franchises can actually compete against one another to grow. And as we, as an audience, will be looking forward to getting so much content that will also be creative, as time goes on because you will have a lot of people wanting to do better than the other. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be the same as each other, which is what I pointed out before. I think it is wrong for studios to be like, we want you to do the same thing so that we can use the same formula to make revenue. And I think that that concept is wrong. However, we do get to see two different genres in the way Zack Snyder portrays his DCEU and the way Kevin Feige wants his MCU to be. We get to see one more serious, more mature content for more adult audiences that questions the morality and the capabilities of what heroes can really be stretched out and bent to. Whereas in the MCU, you get this incredible action comedy of just a lot of funny lines, quips, and a lot of amazing action sequences. Um, as well as a lot of characters coming together. So you do get a lot of variety. But something that has always bugged me since the original Justice League came out was that everything we saw after that. Has some kind of resemblance to Zack Snyder's work. And we got to see more and more of it, especially after BBS, because BBS work was copied in a lot of Marvel films. And not only that, the fact that a lot of the Justice League's ideas was actually copied by some Marvel films. And while I say copied, this need not necessarily be true. Coincidences are a thing, so it is possible that by pure coincidence that they did the same thing Zack had already planned for years before. But while coincidences are possible, I think too many coincidences means there's something really fishy going on in the background. And there are a lot of other YouTubers that have raised their points, a lot of articles online as well that have raised their points, and they do believe that there's been some kind of insider job to this, where ideas are being copied between the studios. And this is not something new. This is a thing of the past. Even among comic book authors, you do see MCU and you do see Marvel and DC actually copy each other in a variety of types of comics. And of course, you can see some of the most common ones are the likes of Namor, which was also copied to be Aquaman, and then you get to see, of course, Captain America. There's also a not really Captain America though, but you do see something like Captain Marvel, which was originally in DC, was carried as a name into Marvel, and then they kept it because they wanted to be they felt the name Marvel felt closer to them, so the Captain Marvel name was taken away and Shazam was created. And similar to that, Darkseid came first, and then Thanos came later. Desart came first, and then what's his name? What's that guy with the spiky sword? You get the point. Proxima, there's Proxima, there's Corvus Glaive, right? Corvus Glaive was copied from Desart, and the likes, right? There are so many parallels between the two universes, but it's not about who really did it first, right? It's not about who did it first. You can have things that are done by one person and done again by the other, but when they look too much similar, you can't help by realizing that they're just stealing ideas at some point. And stealing ideas, I feel, is a really, really wrong thing. So I like this article. This came out about 2 days ago. This is by Nicholas Ayala, and let's just go through a little, this article a little quickly before I show you some footage to also give some comparison. So it says the Justice League Snyder Cut culminates the battle of Justice League against Steppenwolf and Darkseid in the DCEU, likely leaving the hero's epic quest to free the Man of Steel from the anti-life equation. And we don't get to see this portion of it because this film has not been made. Zack Snyder's five movie plan never intended to expand the DCU with the sort of seemingly endless narrative that the MCU is known for. So Zack always wanted to design it such that the films allow other creators to take and continue the stories they would like to, but he always wanted to finish it in a five-movie plan, and he never planned to always be endlessly creating films. That was not his idea, but he did want to create some stepping stones so that the rest of the what do you call this DC franchise can carry forward however they would like. So we do get to see, yes, of course, Martian Manhunter, Darkseid, and the Nightmare. These things were unfortunately not able to be told in a full story. So Zack just added them in the film just to give us those little Easter eggs and references. So now we do get to see the Skrulls impersonate the humans before Martian Manhunter because, Marvel got to make this film before Zack Snyder's film came out. But Zack Snyder already had these ideas. So, what was the actual concept behind this kind of, theory? If you think about it, the Captain Marvel is also some sort of a Green Lantern, right? Because she's part of the Carol Corps, which is something like the Lantern Corps. So there are a lot of parallels, but those are coming from the comics, which is fine. But we do get to see, the Skrulls being impersonators before Martian Manhunter because the film got released earlier. And similarly, Thanos wiped out the universe before Darkseid because the film got to release earlier. And all of this happened because Zack Snyder's film was taken over and destroyed by Joss Whedon. If that did not happen, we would have got to see this all for the first time done by the DCEU and not by the MCU. We also got to see a time travel being done by a character, superhero character, and we would have seen the Flash do it before the MCU as well. And unlike how the MCU, how they showed Iron Man just figure things out in like a split second without having a proper sequence of how he spends time to figure it out. He just goes like, "Oh, I figured it out," and we get to see them time travel. And Thanos is also like, "Oh, I figured it out," and Thanos is also able to use time travel. There's no real context into how it works. Whereas in Flash, we get to see that he's using the Speed Force. It is something that is, he's learning to manipulate. And while he doesn't straight up learn how to turn back time, he does know that he is able to do it gradually and eventually reaches his peak. What I really like about the first two Iron Man films is that you really see Iron Man working with his gadgets, right? In the first film, you see that he spends a lot of time in a cave and he's able to build the Iron Man suit. We don't need the details or the maths of how he builds the armor parts, but at least we see him working on it. We see him spending his time learning about the technology, and we see Tony Stark actually building the suit of armor. Similarly, in the second film, he's learning about the isotope required for him to build the to remove the arc reactor from his chest and create a clean energy arc reactor, one that does not corrode. And I feel the way he discovers that new isotope by it's an element, right? He discovers a new element by researching what his dad's work was and using his genius mind. It shows you that it took two generations of geniuses for Tony to actually figure out how that new element works, and that is what he used to really create clean energy. And I love that whole part of it, right? I felt that Hulk had more context in figuring out time travel than Tony Stark did. But then anyway, that's just me. So then we also get to see Vision turn evil before Superman. I think these parallels are not really much to compare. It's quite too simple, but it's more so the action sequences of Vision and Superman that are quite similar, and I will show you that. Also, the cape flaps are becoming very, very similar to Snyder's cape flaps, which is something I am really, really not happy about. Snyder has a very particular visual with his cape flaps, and he has mentioned about it before that he has a unique way of showing it. It's fully digital, of course, the same for both, which is fine. But you can see that there's more and more similarities with the way these capes are flapping, and it's starting to become very much the same, right? Also, WandaVision used the 4 by 3 aspect ratio, the square one, before Zack Snyder's Justice League because the film got released earlier and Zack wasn't allowed to use this ratio initially. However, no one nitpicks about WandaVision, but they all do about CSJL. So now let's get to the actual footage, right? So these things have been done by a lot of other YouTubers. I believe the one I'm looking at right now is FilmGob, and even FilmGob got this footage from other YouTubers and Twitter and a lot of other channels that have also done these things similarly. And Sure, I'm a fan of FilmGob. He's awesome. He's been a great advocate of the Snyder Cut. Some of his content may be a little bit harsh to the MCU fans, but I feel it's all with good intention. I don't think he's a hater or anything like that. So, regardless, let's just have a look at this, right? So, over here we get to see what do you call these? The parallels drawn between BBS and Avengers Endgame. And take note, BBS came out way, way before, right? And the Justice League was due to come out a year after BBS. And you'll get to see the parallels between the Trinity, of course. I mean, quite frankly, in the Avengers, they never had a Trinity. It was always five characters, and some for some reason they brought it down to a Trinity to take this scene. And it's very much similar because the guy with the shield is Wonder Woman in the middle, and the guy with the cape is Superman, who is Thor. And the other guy, I mean, in this case, is Tony Stark, the guy who's a billionaire, who's genius. Sorry, is a billionaire, a playboy, and that's Batman. And is the exact parallel they have created for this Trinity, copying exactly what was done in BBS. And of course, we go to see them face off against this ultimate power, which was Doomsday in BBS, but is Thanos in Endgame. And you get to see Captain Marvel, who is the female lead in their respective films, come in and put up a fight to hold down the enemy. And the shots are very much from the same angle, just zoomed in and zoomed out a little bit, with slightly different visuals. The lighting is also almost the same. You can see a lot of yellow and gold effects. And yeah, there's another shot here of the main hero sacrificing themselves. One is Superman, the other one is Iron Man. So this one for me felt, I mean, like, of course, a lot of main characters sacrifice themselves in their respective films. So I felt that this parallel could have, I could let this slide because there's no real similarity in the shots. It's more so just the main character sacrificing themselves, and that happens in a lot of other universes. So we can't really compare that. Besides, Iron Man sacrificing himself was actually kind of cool, and it'll be most likely it'll be actually closer to Batman sacrificing himself in Snyder's Full Vision, which we may or may not ever get to see. And then we get to see, of course, Superman is down on the ground, and he is dead. And similarly, Tony Stark is dying, and Tony Stark, the only difference is he is laying towards some kind of rock. And we get to see Pepper Potts coming to him the same way Lois Lane is close to Superman, and they give them a kiss. I mean, this is very much exact parallels. And then the Trinity is here. For some reason, even in Endgame, they didn't show all the other characters weeping as much. They focus very much on these two who were close to him. And I felt this scene was stupidly awkward because she had like Pepper Potts actually had to pull Spider-Man away from Tony. I thought Spider-Man grieving for Tony was something different that they were trying to do, but no, it just came back to Pepper Potts in the end of the day. And then of course we see the if you see his monument shot, the same way we see the proof that Tony Stark has a heart shot. I really like the proof that Tony Stark has a heart. That entire symbolism I felt that was beautiful, and I felt these parallels are okay. They're not that surprising. I think it is pretty much the same. But now we get to, of course, the grieving shot. We see the entire. I believe it is. What do you call this? The city, right? What do you call that? Is it Manhattan? No, it's not. Is it Man? It's something like Manhattan. It's Metropolis. We see Metropolis grieving for Superman. In this case, we see a more covert group. It's not the entire town or anything. It's just those who are left of the Avengers. And of course, I think these Nick Fury parallels not really necessary, but this one is pretty close. And in this one, we see Batman and Wonder Woman having a conversation. Observing the grave of Superman or the funeral. And similarly, here we have Hawkeye and Wanda, I believe, talking over the pier where the what do you call this? Like the flowers for Tony Stark is being sent off, and it is just flipped, right? The guy is on one side, the lady is on the other, but they're both having a conversation about having a feeling that they have to be prepared for the future, and yeah, that happens. So I felt these parallels are really too close, and pretty much similar to be copied to I mean, to be called a copy. And I feel that there is someone working behind the scenes actually copying Zack Snyder's work, and it's not. I feel that this will eventually be addressed someday in the future, but at the same time it's really creepy. Let me also drag this a little bit for you guys. All right. In another one, we also get to see how in WandaVision, one of them is actually trying to intimidate the other person, and then Superman comes to the rescue of his mom. The same way Vision comes to the rescue of Wanda, and the fight scenes. This action sequence is almost the same. You get to see them both flip through a place, and then explosion happens. I felt that this parallel was just so close. It really looked like someone was just copying the other person. And of course, this real little crash landing scene looks quite similar, but you can still let this slide. It's it's I mean, this is something that can happen in any film. But then of course, you get to see them, continue to fight, and you can see the action sequences in the sky is also pretty much, the same, which I felt was just like, come on guys, seriously, you gotta copy Zack's work. Like, I mean, can't you be a little more creative? And we also get this heat vision scene between the two visions, and yeah, I mean, yeah, and then of course the villain knocks back the hero in similar style, and the hero goes down to fall. And in the end, what happens is the hero gets the villain in a chokehold. Oh God. I mean, at this point, if you're telling me that they're not copying Zack's work, like this is Man of Steel we're talking about. They thought, oh, they found the parallels because we copied BBS, which was a few years ago. Let's copy Man of Steel, which was like 8 years ago, and let's see if people forget about it. But no, we don't forget about it because Man of Steel is one of the greatest superhero films ever made. And you guys will never be able to make it if you keep copying people like this. And yeah, I like FilmGob adding the Mr. Bean copying over here. I felt this was really cute from him, and pretty much explains the parallels. So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to highlight in this video. I feel that there's a lot of similarities, and it's actually kind of creepy to some point that you really want to think what's really going on behind the scenes. And sometimes you wonder if there was some other intention to it. So there are so many other versions out there, so many other examples of copying, so many Reddit forums and everything like that. But I didn't want to go through too many things because I didn't want it to seem like I'm just making an issue out of this or whatever. But I just wanted to highlight to you guys in case some of you have missed out or not really thought about it. And I want you guys to think about it and let me know what you guys think. I mean, we all know that copying is a thing in the creative world, right? There's always some person that's going to be first, and the other person is going to be like, no, he copied me, or he's copying me, or something like that. But there are differences when it comes to plagiarism. You can really tell that some people's creative work are just similar and not really the same. Some people just had similar ideas because they based off other similar content in the past. But when there's too much similarity and when it continues to repeat, right, it continues to repeat itself, especially considering that they are your competitor, I think it's pretty obvious that one person is copying the other, and there's some kind of background hands at work to get this thing done. And it's possibly one of the reasons why Joss Whedon was also brought into the DCU to destroy Zack's vision, to make sure that it never continues, so that they can use all of Zack's remaining work and copy it for MCU films to come. And now that Zack has already released his storyboards and everyone is aware of his work, I think that not only Zack Snyder, but maybe the studio, I mean, those guys are geniuses, right, at work. They know if someone is copying their work. They definitely are watching. And I have a feeling them releasing the storyboards is clearly kind of giving a warning out there to let people know what the full story and the full idea was. Just so that if these people continue to copy, we will know that this thing is being done. But if Zack's work was shut off, if Zack never got to create this, this new Justice League film, right? If it ended with BVS, all of Zack's remaining ideas are still in the hands of the likes of Walter Hamada and the likes of the others at Warner Brothers, who may be insiders or double agents, who are helping out other companies as well. And those ideas would definitely have been leaked out to the MCU and other studios alike if they were to ever make similar films. And I feel that, like Zack's cape flapping, especially, don't touch that, guys. Just don't touch the cape flaps. They're just iconic. Come on, you will never get that again. And I think we need to look at the bigger picture, which is aside from all the hate that Zack gets for his broody characters or whatever, um, there's no one like the man, right? And to be frank, I have the same amount of respect for the likes of Kevin Feige. I feel that him being able to create such a massive universe and work with such a massive plan, the way he brings in these different creators and brings in these different characters and tries to create a large story that joins everyone together, I feel it's just a work of pure genius. But don't touch another genius's work. That's pretty much it. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm not sure how you guys like this or don't like it. Well, whatever it is, I am just here to entertain you guys, and I hope you guys do, are entertained. Take care, guys. See you in the next one.